I am truly fascinated to talk about this. And I think where I want to just start is this. Oklahoma City comes out. They play super well in the first quarter, really in the first like 7 minutes, I would say 6 or 7 minutes. And from that point forward, Indiana just absolutely put the clamps on them. It felt like to me. I think they probably scored something like 80 to 84 points or something in the final 40 minutes of this game, something in that ballpark. It was a phenomenal defensive performance that I thought was keyed, particularly by three guys, but two others I think deserve a lot of credit here. So first, Andrew Nemhard was fantastic on Shea all night. Was absolutely fantastic. Did an amazing job on him at the point of attack. Made his life miserable. Second, I think Aaron Nesmith did a fantastic job on defense, as we come to expect. We know that is what he's capable of every single night. He's switchable. He's very tough. He's very physical. The third guy I want to call out is actually Ben Shepherd. I thought Ben Shepherd coming in early in the first quarter completely changed the tone of their point of attack defense. I thought he was fantastic in this game. I know that he was like a -2. I know that he only scored 4 points. I thought he was tremendous in being able to consistently get into guys' shit and bother them. And then the other two guys I want to call out, TJ McConnell had that massive start to the second quarter with the 2 quick steals. He just bothers and pests everybody around the court. Really, really tough and physical there. And then finally, we got to call out Tyrese Halliburton on defense too.
Sure.
I think this might be the best game I've seen Tyrese Halliburton play defensively. I thought he struggled in the first 5 or 6 minutes. And man, did I think he was great on defense throughout the rest of this game. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say he was like an all defense level guy in this game, but I thought that his anticipation off the ball was really good. I thought that he was aggressive on the ball. Look, there were moments where like J-Dub was able to like put his shoulder into him and get all the way to the rim, right? It's going to happen. But I absolutely loved the way that Indiana defended this game. I almost don't even think there are like a ton of X's and O's to talk about with it. It was just more of an attitude thing for me. They came in and just got into Oklahoma City shit at the point of attack after a really bad start to this game defensively, especially at the point of attack. And man, I adored what I saw from them from that point forward. I thought that those guys on the perimeter defensively were great tonight.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, even if it was a bad start, the mentality started on the first possession. Like it started at the, I wrote it down. I mean, Nemhard, you could tell his mentality tonight was, I'm going to get in him and I'm going to make SGA uncomfortable. Like if it's possible to shake SGA, to wear SGA down, to frustrate him, I'm going to be the one to do it tonight. And he drew an offensive foul off the ball. Like if that was a regular season game, that would have been a flagrant foul. Shea hit him in the face with his elbow or his shoulder or something. And I'm not saying it should have been reviewed and been one or whatever, but like Shea was frustrated 6 seconds into the game. And we talk about this all the time with the mentality thing. And I'm glad you called out Tyrese Halliburton as well, because I think part of the calculation for Oklahoma City's starting lineup, which I'm sure we'll talk about as well, is, well, Kaysen can attack Tyrese at the point of attack and he can break Tyrese down. And we haven't seen it enough to justify that. It might have happened once or twice, but Tyrese makes up for it with rotations and disruptions. He read Shea like a book on two of like the one in the second half, Sam, was beautiful, playing on the weak side, having to play two, didn't go too early, got there, and it led directly to offense. So I'm with you. I think this was an attitude, mentality, coach, however you want to say it, whatever coach speak you want to use. Indiana had it tonight, and I think this result has a lot to do with that.
I could not agree more. I thought that Halliburton, with those 2 steals, particularly on the cross-quarter kickouts when he was guarding 1-on-2, I mean, he was just elite. He was so good. He had the moment in, I think it was late first quarter, if I remember correctly, where he got, I think it was, man, who was it? Up at like maybe like the 40-foot mark away from the rim. And it was like kind of a scramble play. And he knocked it off of I want to say that it was, man, I think it was like maybe Kaysen. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. That was another forced turnover that he didn't get credit for. In general, I thought that the easiest way to see what the ball pressure was for the first time in the series, Indiana won the turnover battle.
Yeah.
Won the points off of turnover battle, and they won the turnover battle. Oklahoma City turned the ball over 17 times in this game. Shea and J-Dub had 10 turnovers. I know that they combined for 50 and 14 rebounds and 7 assists. I didn't think either of them played super well tonight. And I think that more than anything, it was a credit to Indiana's defense as opposed to their own play. Because, like, look, you look at J-Dub's stat line, like it's 26 points on 50% from the field, made one of 2 from 3, 7 and 11 from the line. Like, the free throws were an issue tonight for Oklahoma City from time to time in terms of just like kind of losing, steam during their attempts to kind of get back into the game. But I just felt like it was a little bit hard for him, and he was trying to barrel his way into the rim, and it felt like it was kind of on his terms as opposed to the team's terms. And Shea, I mean, one X's and O's thing I will call out is the way that they defended Shea on his like isolation possessions and drives. They sent absolutely pristinely timed doubles at Shea as soon as he would get maybe like 15 feet away from the rim, 16 feet away from the rim. Obi Toppin was doing that a lot. Off the top of my head, like I remember Toppin being a guy responsible for doubling a reasonable amount of the time. I thought Toppin was really good tonight, and we're 8 minutes into the show, and we haven't even mentioned Ben Mathurin. I mean, Ben Mathurin, is the reason outside of the defense that they won this game. 27 points on 9 of 12 from the field, 7 of 8 from the free throw line. Wasn't even that he got super hot from 3. Goes 2 of 3 from 3. It was more that he was just consistently able to get into the teeth of the defense and was absolutely physical and tough and just dealt with the contact at a super high level.
And this is what Benedict Mathurin can do. He's done it consistently in these playoffs in 1 or 2 games every series other than the first round against the Bucks, where, his high score was 14, but against the Cavs, he had back-to-back games in 2 and 3 with 19 and 23. And then in the conference finals against the Knicks in games, what would this be? Game 4 and game 5, he has 20 and 23. So 14 in game 2 for Benedict Mathurin, played a little bit better. And then, as you mentioned, 27 tonight. And we talk about this all the time with Benedict Mathurin. There are defensive issues. There's defensive concerns. OKC attacked him on a after timeout, hit him with the backdoor action that he gave up, and J-Dub just missed the dunk. But when he's scoring 27 points in his 22 minutes, I think you can still find value in that, especially if he's not turning the ball over at a high rate and he's doing it as efficiently as doing so on 12 shot attempts. So really big time performance for Benedict Mathurin. As a guy that got I was a Benedict Mathurin guy. He was one of my guys in that draft class. So I really like to see him be successful. But offensively, that was a huge part for them. And McConnell, like, the steals really, it's just that there's a certain level of energy, like, and
totally,
and physicality. You know who else I want to call out real quick here? I thought Miles Turner was kind of awful for at least the first 28
I would
minutes
say
of
3 quarters.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say 28 minutes, but definitely up till halftime. And then he came out at halftime and it didn't get any better. I thought he had a tremendous fourth quarter, Sam. Like,
unbelievable.
I always like coming on here. I talk about teams responding, players responding, and how that's my favorite thing in sports to watch. Watching Miles Turner respond within the game tonight, where I still think he's dealing with something. He was limping at times tonight even, and making some of the shots and the defensive plays he made. I was so impressed and so happy for Miles Turner in that moment.
He was really rough in the first 3 quarters. I thought Chet was the best player on the court basically for the first 3 quarters of this game. His ability to completely, maybe Hallie at the end of the day, honestly, if I'm thinking back on it realistically, but My goodness. Chet, I thought, was a monster for the first 3 quarters in this game. His help defense, his switchable defense, timely rotations. And then he had like 20 and 10 all told in the game. It felt like he had a ton in the first quarter. Obviously, he had 10 in the first quarter. Like, he was a monster, even though he went 0 for 6 from 3. And in the fourth quarter, I thought Turner just completely did away with him. He just completely made life miserable for him. And he was physical and he was tough and he was strong. The moment, I think it was like the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter, where he just straight up bullied Chet to the rim and then just like put his ass into him, and Chet just flew backward, and then he just like went up for a nice little right-handed layup. Man, I thought Turner's fourth quarter was a huge reason why they were able to close this thing out. I completely agree with you. They're just timely in the way that they go about it. And, look, we're here now 12 minutes into this thing. We haven't even called out Tyrese Halliburton outside of the defense. Like, we haven't called out his offensive game. 22 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists, took 17 shots, which is something you and I have been harping on in the first 2 games here. He was aggressive after the first 5 or 6 minutes of this game. He was on point. His passing was terrific. He got into a verve, it felt like, where he was just really, really effective at finding defenders, and then being able to map where his players were compared to them. Like, man, I thought Halliburton just completely controlled the game again tonight. Like, he was so good.
So I was talking to somebody the other day that, has a brother in college, and we were talking about his brother and, mentality and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, I pull up Facebook or whatever, the algorithm all of a sudden shows up the Drew Handling quote on Tyrese, or maybe I had to Google it, whatever it was. And where Handling says that when Tyrese is unselfish, he's actually being selfish to his team. Like, whenever he's out there just passing the ball and not looking to be aggressive and not looking to score.
That's a Drew statement, if I've ever heard one.
But I do agree with it. Like, there is a certain bit of selfishness in that I'm not gonna take too many shots here because it puts me out of my comfort zone or whatever, right? And it seems completely ass backwards, but it's not, because they win when he's aggressive, Sam. And they lose when he's not. Like, just looking at attempts, not even points. I never care about the points with Halliburton. I just look at the field goal attempts. And obviously, when you're watching the game, it stands out as well. The one loss to the Bucks, 11 field goal attempts. The one loss to the Cavs, 8 field goal attempts. There was a 15-1 against the Knicks, then a 7. And then in this series, 13. But when he's 15 plus, like, I'm feeling good about his mentality and how he's attacking offensively. And I just want Halliburton to always have that mentality. Obviously, if his trainers talking about it publicly, they're talking about it privately. So it's something Tyrese is trying to work through and be better at. When he is in the mindset he was in tonight, he is an all NBA level player. Like he absolutely is. It's just, there's always that one game. Maybe that game is already out for this series, and we're in for a special, what would it be, 4 more games, hopefully, depending on how it goes. But love it. Loved his performance tonight. I thought he was awesome.
Yeah, completely agree. Was tremendous. It was absolutely terrific. Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I have a ton else. This was just an Indiana ass kicking from like 6 to 7 minutes left. No, probably 5 minutes left in the first quarter onward, it felt like to me. I think that, I mean, I'll look at the play-by-play data here while we're talking, but I think that OKC was up 9. Yeah, OKC was up 9 with 5:41 left, and they go on to lose by 9. Like, Indiana won this game by 18 points in the final 42 minutes. It was a pure ass kicking from that point onward.
From the other side of it, I did not think Oklahoma City got great play from their role players in this game. Isaiah Joe hit 2 shots, but defensively was an issue. I had, pushed for Aaron Wiggins minutes. Did not think his minutes were good. Kaysen, hasn't hit a 3 in the series so far. Dort, came out hot, hit some threes. Caruso still has his impact. I'm interested to see where Dagnall goes in game 4, Sam. If he pulls some strings, if he goes, I said before we recorded, like Hartenstein's averaging less than 20 minutes a game in this series. I think he's one of their 5 best players right now. And I understand the idea coming in. I just wonder if he shouldn't go back to that starting lineup and just see. I'm not trying to push the panic button. It's not like you're going to something that you haven't done all year or something like that. We've talked through this. We don't think it's as bad defensively as, say, the Knicks 2 big lineup. We've talked about that over and over. I don't know. I don't know. Is it time for him to try something? Is there something different with the rotations? Like, I just find myself going like, or maybe it's the role players on the first road game and I'm overthinking it, but it did not seem like those guys performed well. He didn't play a lot of minutes, and I find myself wondering if it's time to change something up a little.
Yeah, I'm kind of, look, I think I've been clear throughout the series that I think that the double big lineup is probably something that they should go to more consistently. I would guess they played 3 minutes tonight, and I think that they won those minutes. I'll check it, again, but I'm kind of waiting for the numbers to update while we talk here. But yeah, I think that Kaysen has not been very good in this series, just kind of point blank. And the bench guys outside of Caruso are just a little bit too inconsistent. Like Isaiah Joe can't play in the series. He just can't. Like he is too small and not like he drilled 2 threes tonight in 4 minutes. And I think that they got him like more on the other end than what, he get than what he allowed. Or maybe it was like even, like literally he drilled 2 threes. And then I think they literally got him, not the team, but like got him for 6 points within those 4 minutes that he was on the court. Like it's just really hard. It's funny. We talk about Oklahoma City as this like very deep team, and the Pacers tonight just absolutely out-depthed them. That was the reality of the game.
Yeah. And I want to be clear. I thought the single big lineup was an advantage for Oklahoma City going into the series. So like by me calling this out, I'm admitting I was wrong, or could have been wrong through 3 games. It looks like I was, because I like the idea of Chet being able to attack Miles Turner after what we saw Cat do. And I like the idea of Hartenstein being able to feast on the Pacers second unit, but those things just haven't played out to the extent that I don't know that I just go back to the starting 5 that is really good. And especially maybe more so than anything, it seems like these other guys are struggling a little bit in the roles that are being asked of them. And maybe that's why I would like to see it. And again, I'm not saying you have to play 48 minutes of Hart and Chet together. I just wonder if Dagnall will go ahead and pull some strings and move some things here and there and make a couple decisions to change it up a little bit, or if he'll just say like, hey, we just got to win game 4. It's 2-2, home court's back in our favor. We're in for a 7-game series. And then wait for a potential, like, do you wait to go down 3-1 before you make a decision, right? On something like that. So this is a huge game 4. I'm interested to see if Dagnall makes some changes. I'm fascinated.
Yeah. So I'm really interested as well. I will say this, like, again, I think Rick Carlisle has been elite in this series again. Like, this is the Rick Carlisle Hall of Fame series. If they win, honestly, I think he should probably be in the Hall of Fame as it is as a coach, but like, regardless, like it's a no brainer if he wins this series. Like it's an absolute joke. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think I want to go back and watch the game, because most of my notes are just like, holy shit. Like the point of attack defense is what won them this game. Like this has been elite. This has been tremendous. And then like, they obviously, Mathurin just being like a terrific shot maker and driver was a huge piece of this as well tonight. I mean, look, like Oklahoma City hit 46% from 3 tonight and lost. Like that's tough. And Indiana went 33% from 3 and lost. Like this was not a shooting variance game. This was just a good old fashioned ass kicking game from Indiana. It was all the physicality, the toughness. Obviously, Oklahoma City started like raising the screen level to be super, super like into the backcourt. Like I bet if we see where Hartenstein, particularly when he was on the court, if we see where his screen level was, it might be like 40 feet from the rim, honestly. And that accounts for screens that he sets like, you know, right at the 3-point line, like 24 feet from the rim. You know what I mean? So I thought he was, I thought Indiana's defense was terrific. I thought that Oklahoma City tried to adjust by getting Shea downhill a little bit more consistently, but I thought that Indiana's defense and help, and I thought that their willingness to just fight and scratch and claw to fight back into plays just made life absolutely miserable. And again, like, I didn't think the process was great from Shea and J-Dub tonight. I thought that, there wasn't as much crisp ball movement. That's absolutely a credit to the Pacers for sure. But I also think that Shea and J-Dub were like a split second late as well tonight in terms of their decision-making on offense.
The ball stuck a little bit. There was stagnant. The flow of the offense wasn't great. I found myself going like, are they that reliant on forcing turnovers and getting out in transition to get momentum going? Is it just the Pacers defense? Is it game 3 of the finals and you're on the road for the first game and, you're trying to adjust? What is it? That's why I'm interested to see how they respond in game 4, because I felt the same way. I do think 2 things I would love to see them. They ran the Shea off ball back screen again after a timeout and got a bucket. I know you can't just run that 15 times in a row, but I would like to see them continue to incorporate Shea's off ball gravity to get other people good looks or downhill drives or whatever. I would also just like to run traditional ball screen stuff and see if Indiana can guard you. Like, especially if they you can force Thomas Bryant onto the floor, because it looked like Carlisle was not comfortable with like Siakam topping. Like, I think you could strategically find a way to force Bryant on the court playing 2 bigs in non-Turner minutes. And then you attack Thomas Bryant with ball screen actions in those minutes.
I don't think I agree with that, to be honest with you.
You don't think Carlisle will go to him?
I think that part of the reason OKC is the only times that they're really playing the 2 big lineups are when Bryant is out there. You know what I mean? Like, I think that they're trying to specifically attack those Bryant minutes with the 2 big lineups. And I feel like it's been pretty successful so far, to be honest. Maybe he would, like, maybe he'd just think that they need the size if Oklahoma City starts to crush the glass.
So I feel like maybe I misread the substitutions tonight, but I feel like he went to him whenever they had 2 bigs on. But there was a bunch of subbing going on, so maybe that wasn't what it was.
Thomas only played 3 minutes tonight. Like, it was small. Like, they went small a lot tonight.
I have to look back through then.
Yeah, honestly, like, Bryant's minutes were loud because they weren't great. I will say that. But yeah, like it was a lot of small minutes. Like, I felt like it was a lot of like Toppin and Siakam out there. And then the other thing that they did was they went super, super small for a stretch. What was it? I think it was in the second. It was Hallie McConnell, Shepard, Neesmith with, I think, Siakam at the 5. And it went super, super small for that little run. It was interesting. Yeah, it was very, very interesting. Look, again, to me, I think that they can run out the 2 big lineup and be okay against this team.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I think I think it's definitely worth a try. I just wondered if you strategically put the 2 big lineup on the floor as soon as Turner goes for his break, what would Carlisle do on his end? Would he feel comfortable playing 4 minutes of Siakam and Toppin against it? I guess is what I was wondering. Or would he feel the need to have Thomas Bryant out there to match some sort of size and physicality?
The other thing I'm just going to say here is, honestly, at some point outside of, what was it? Game 4 against the Timberwolves, they're going to have to win like a really tight game here. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to have to win just like a super, super tight game. And so far, the Pacers just been better in these tight moments. Like, they've been the best team in the playoffs, frankly. They might be the best team we've seen in a decade in the playoffs in these tight moments, right? But Oklahoma City has not been good in these tight moments. Just genuinely has not been good in these moments where things get like really, really tight. So you look at the games they've won. They won by 16 in game 2 against the Pacers. Win by 30 against the Timberwolves. Win by 15 against the Timberwolves. Win by 26 against the Timberwolves. Obviously, the game 4 was a 2-point game, super tight game, amazing game. But in game 7 against the Nuggets, win by 30. They did win a tight game in Denver. I think it was game 4 as well. But then game 2 against Denver was a 40-point win, right? Like, they're great when they go downhill and they just completely avalanche you. And they are as good as anybody in the league at avalanching you in that way. But you know what? Like, they're going to need Shea to like make some tough shots at some point. And it hasn't been like super sweet there yet in the playoffs.
So it's funny. I hadn't looked at this. You want to guess the Pacers? I assume this does not include tonight's game yet. You want to guess the Pacers clutch rating in the playoffs this year? Net rating
I would
in
guess
the clutch.
It's like plus 35. I would guess it's like crazy.
34 minutes plus 45.7, a 145.7 offense, straight 100 defense. Want to guess what the Oklahoma City Thunder's is in 31 minutes? So we're talking the same sample size.
I would guess it's like a -5.
Negative 2.5, 108.1 and a 110.6 defensive rating. And to your point, Sam, OKC is 5-4 in 9 games played. The Pacers are 9-1 in 10 games played in clutch situations. It's a great point that Indiana has just flat out been better than pretty much anybody, but definitely better than Oklahoma City, who has been, by those numbers, average at best when you look at a 5-4 record and a negative net.
That's right. I think that's absolutely right. So I'm interested to see kind of what we see from Oklahoma City here moving forward. We'll talk about it, obviously, when this game occurs on, what is it? It's Saturday, right?
No,
Friday.
Just one day. This is the one time we only get one day in between.
Beautiful.
Yeah, one day off, play Friday, and then it's 2 in between the rest of the way.